Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and apparently 300 people watched me review Harley Quinn last night on somebody's Twitch channel. Apparently, I am, in a very, very tiny, minor, insignificant way, internet famous. That being said, we're going to review something else today. I'm not going to talk about how awesome I am to be on somebody else's Twitch channel. We're going to look at the Teen Titans Academy, another one of the Infinite Frontier jobbies that have come out recently. And it's one that I must admit didn't really grab me. I dipped into a little Titans and Teen Titans, and there's an awful lot of history, an awful lot of characters, and it always immediately struck me as people who weren't quite good enough to get into Young Justice. Young Justice is a comic book I've loved since it first started. I actually read a whole bunch of the originals, and when Brian Michael Bendis did the relaunch, I absolutely adored it. I've got the trades. I'm really happy that I read all of them, and I think it's a fantastic comic book. So, anything Teen Titans is going up against something which I already like. So it's kind of hard to remove my bias from that. It's kind of hard for me to just look at it purely objectively, because in my head there's always going to be something else to compare it to quickly and easily. So let's look at it just as it is straight off. Talk about the artwork first. Perfectly competent in-house style. Do not like it. Really overdone computer coloring. Yes, I know. I've said before that sometimes just doing in-house style is all it needs to be done, and that's fine. But there's so many characters in this with their own unique looks and their own unique styles that I think just staying safe was a bit of a waste. There's a ragdoll character who basically has some quite nice little lines actually within the see if I can find the actual conversation in here. Some rather wonderful just little bits of dialogue. Sorry, I should have bookmarked this. This is terrible that I can't find it on here. Eventually, they get referred to as being an androgynous puppet and has a better response to it. The character looks fantastic. Are they on the cover? Maybe you can see them on the cover. Yes, a little bit in the back there. Really cool idea for the character, but the artwork, the way it looks, just is wasted. It's bland and designed not to stand out, it seems, and I feel like that is an absolute waste, especially when you've got like some of the other cool characters, Starfire, Nightwing, Beast Boy, all looking great. Then you get onto the writing side of it. I want to say straight off that there's some cool things about the plot that I like, but there's also sort of some weird writing in there which really bugs me. Like early on, they're talking about when they have people arriving on a raft to Teen Titans Island, and they're telling them it's like the people being hand-selected to be there because of their work ethic and their beliefs, and effectively they're going to be like excellent Titans. But that removes the idea of there being any kind of friction between the idea of people wanting to be Titans or not. If they've been handpicked because they're clearly already going down that way, we're sort of thinking, well, where are you going to get that kind of back and forth from? In the actual comic book, you have that back and forth. A whole bunch of people are like, I don't want to do this. This is lame. I can't believe we've done this. Can't we just go somewhere else instead? It's like, why have they been hand-selected? If they don't want to be there, surely that's a fairly good, solid sign that they shouldn't have been hand-selected. If they're not going to do what needs to be done, if they're already, like, literally on day one, complaining bitterly. Don't get me wrong, there's also some cool bits with the complaining in an interesting way. For instance, Beast Boy is trying far too hard to be a kid. Like, it's uncomfortable, but that writing is actually quite effective. As somebody, myself, in my 40s, who spends quite a lot of time in a comic book store with people who are considerably younger than me, I understand it's so easy to say something without realizing that you sound like an old man trying to be cool. Beast Boy is written particularly well for that one. But then there's also this rather awesome bit where Nightwing makes a Harry Potter reference. He then claims, oh no, you're probably too young to get it. And their response is, no, we get it. It's just problematic as hell. And it's like, yeah, okay, that is actually, again, that's quite well done. But all of this takes place in the background of a whole bunch of characters being introduced into the DC universe far too quickly to really get your head around it. I think the last time I read something like this was Strange Academy, which only focused on a few like individualistic characters within a whole raft of them, and then gradually spun out from there. But because the artwork was so much better, each individual character stood out. Like from, I mean, the artwork is complicated and all over the place, but even then, the individual characters were so well designed that you knew exactly who was who. Down to the clothing they wear, the speech bubbles, lettering, everything about it was giving them a sense of individuality. In a team book, it was a tricky thing to do, and it managed really, really well. Teen Titans Academy did not do that. It was a letdown. Cool bits of writing, brilliant. Nice plot idea, fantastic. One other thing they do quite well, I had no idea who the Red Cross guy was. I had not read that bit of Nightwing's history. No idea why he was that person, what stopped him being that person, no idea what he was doing there. They managed to integrate just enough that it obviously meant something without bombarding me with too much illustration, without too much just text on the page. But I never felt like I was missing out because I didn't know anything. So with all those little bits of promise, I feel like everything else was all put into a massive pot and then just thrown on a table and see what people like. And as a result of just all the bad stuff in there as well, the actual stew just isn't good enough, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. Not my cup of tea. Anyway, that's it from me. There's still a couple things on my review. I might get one over the weekend, but I can't promise it. Other than that, I'll be back on Tuesday. Until then, stay safe. Bye.